Um, welcome everybody, and I will maybe start by introducing the four people that are here. On my left, there's Eugeniu Popovici.
Yes. Bonsoir. Good evening.
He's a director. On his left, there's Ana-Felicia Scutelnicu, also a director. Then Valentina Iusuphodjaev, hope I'm not mispronouncing it, director of the Național Cinema Center in Moldova. And last but not least, Gnatiuc, the curator of the Moldovan cinema section here at the FIFF, and also a film producer. So maybe would you like to introduce yourselves a little further? Or it's okay with you? Yes?
I'm Eugeniu Popovici. I'm film director from Moldova, Telefilm Chișinău, and I'm doing the film documentary.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, well, I'm Ana-Felicia Scutelnicu. I'm from Moldova, but I live about for 20 years already in Berlin. I studied filmmaking there, and I live there, but I go to Moldova to make my movies there because the inspiration is there, my family is there, my parents. So I am really very connected, and I never left, actually.
Thank you.
I'm Valentina Iusuphodjaev. Actually, my background is a film producer, but for 2 years now I am the director of National Film Center for Moldova.
And I'm Gnatiuc. Actually, I will double the information you said. I'm a documentary film producer for now. And I see that our practice before the session, it worked. Very good pronunciation of our names. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, to the audience, feel free to interrupt us if you have questions you want to ask, and I will maybe start. Can you guys tell me what it's like to make movies now in Moldova?
Okay. Well, in Moldova, it's quite different, everything, and actually, a lot of things to do. It's hard, yeah, especially now, because we are affected a lot because of war, yeah, Ukrainian war, Russian war in Ukrainian. Actually, we are neighbors, so this situation affected a lot Moldova. It's a big crisis, but still, I will say. I have to say this. Somehow we are used for many years to do a lot of things based on our enthusiasm. And our people somehow handle with every situation. And for many years, by the way, there were no any support from the state for film. And still, people managed to find creative resources, financial resources, and make films.
Okay, thank you, Jan. Would you like to expand on that?
Yeah, that's why sometimes I think it's a mistake to call ourselves as directors or producers. I call ourselves magicians, people who create some magic. Which, again, I think we discussed before that and at the Eugen screening before. We can complain forever about the problems and about the challenges, but at some point we have to learn to see opportunities where there are problems. Because definitely you can plan some things, as here. We came to a round table, but this table is not quite round. But you adapt, of course. And yeah, when I started my international presence, to be present at different training platforms and workshops, I understood that basically being a small country reduces the cost of the productions, and creates a space. Yeah, without money, creativity increases, then, and we have to build on. That.
Yes. And for you two, who are directors.
Well, my situation is that I was following my dream to become a filmmaker. At the beginning of the years 2000, there was no possibility really to study and to make it in Moldova. So I was going further and not giving up. And then when I had the possibility to enter the academy in Berlin, I passed the exams. And yes, I am following this path like one step after the other. I find a bit of money there and go to Moldova to make movies with the help and with a lot of inspiration and creativity, because actually the huge creative potential in Moldova is there, and it's you just need to come and to start working with. So it's really I call my movies co-productions from this point of view, because maybe we don't have financing help, but we have this incredible faces, places, histories. So that is also a co-production.
For me, it's very different from project to project. Some projects going very well and very easy. Some projects need more involvement, more money. But overall, you know, we have a lot of stories in Moldova. You just need to have time and to be able to film and to produce his story, to develop this story. And we are a very small studio, and this is from one part it's difficult, but still we can do with not very much money the documentary, but it's challenging, but we have a lot of stories.
And I believe when those stories are filmed, it's even harder to show them in your own country, because I think there's like only 3 cinemas, all in the capital.
Yeah, the main problem is the platform where you show your movies, you know. And another problem is when you go outside. We have, for me, it's quite a problem. But the platform where you show your movies, for documentaries especially, it's the main problem in our industry.
Yeah, we actually in Moldova there were 47 cinema theaters, and yeah, we went through a hard period of corruption, and a lot of these cinema theaters disappeared actually, and we have to rebuild this system now.
So I also believe under the Soviet period there was a flourishing industry for the cinema, but it all collapsed in I believe in early 90s or something, and you have to rebuild almost from scratch. Is that correct?
To fight for the culture to become a priority on the government agenda, and not just something that completes or at the end of the list. Because when you see, I'm not criticizing now my government, but I have to say that health, culture and education, or it's education, health and culture, it's just changing, but really at the end of the priorities, and this is sending kind of a message, and we have to change that and to push for it.
And what can you do to make a change?
To explain that enthusiasm doesn't pay the bills. To translate now, because again, based on this enthusiasm, I would say that we are even better than many industries. What came out of it and what you could watch during the festival here, it's only a part of the best films that were made after 2000. And what we can do is like to unite and to send this message that we need now to translate the enthusiasm into aligning ourselves to the healthy practices, international healthy practices. Now the entire world is talking that without co-production there is no more like a national film alone. So we need to connect with others not in terms only of money, in terms of creativity to bring new minds and new voices and new eyes. And for doing that, we need also to solve our problems back home.
Yes, we really have a very small fund. All money that we have from the state, it's just a half of million of euros, 500,000 euros for everything. Of course, lack of money generate creativity, but still, as Ioan said, there are some objective. You can be helped by friends, by many just good people, and so on. But there are some expenses you cannot avoid. Let's say.
What friends? My friends, when I'm calling them, they say, if you about a film, don't call me.
Don't call me anymore. Yeah. And we now we are trying to change the system of financing. Of course, there are always other priorities. Now we have this energetical crisis. Yeah. And we are really in a very bad situation. But we are sure that culture is very important, and we see now that that resilience of a country is based on its culture, and film is a very important part of this culture. And this kind of events for us also are very important because, well, I am a part of government, but I am also a filmmaker. So when we are going somewhere on audience from other countries are interested in what we are doing, I think our politicians will understand that they have to pay more attention for that.
They should come with us.
Yeah, we have to invite them as well. Yeah.
So, is it really important for you to be invited in a film festivals like here? I think it's the first time ever there's a panorama of Moldovan cinema that is created especially for a film festival in Europe or even in the world. I don't know.
We have recently in Salonic.
No. Panorama like of the films, Yeah. It's as far as I know, it's the first time that is happening, and it's important. And I'm saying this, but you can disargue with me. We have kind of in our culture there is something that we need to validate abroad, like in music, in arts, in different fields. I mean, people start to love our music, I don't know, somewhere in Romania, or Eurovision song. It became more popular in Moldova, I think, after being part of that. And I feel that in our community and emerging industry is happening, it's happening the same. That you need to go abroad and to get this validation and support and then come back, which is a bit like the other way around the industry works, because first of all you need, if it's a Moldavian project, you need the first support from your home, and then you go abroad and look for other supports.
And would you say that the future of Moldovan cinema, yes?
I just wanted, it's important to add also that these events, in some festivals like regional parts, people already know about us as individuals or producers or as a country, but in some places people didn't even know before the war that there is a country between Romania and Ukraine who's there. Yes. And now people discover, but they have also a cinema. But those films are really good. So yeah, it's important, and we have to build on
but
this.
It's also important to have the discussion after the films. You can see how the people from another part of the world, see your country or your problem, and it's very important to have this kind of discussion.
And finally, the film is made for the audience, so this is very important that the film gets the audience and different kind of audience. That's very important.
I think we have our first question here.
So my question is, what exactly drives the choice of subjects for, because they seem to be quite heavy. and very socially engaged. And what's the relationship of the Moldovan public with these subjects? Is it easy for them to look at this stuff, especially what's happening in Transnistria?
Juste un instant, on m'a demandé de traduire en français les questions en anglais. Donc, Madame demandait comment le faisaient les réalisateurs pour choisir leurs sujets, parce qu'elle avait l'impression que c'était des sujets souvent assez difficiles,
Assez
lourds, hein, et sur des thèmes sociaux, des choses comme ça. Voilà.
If it's about me, I'll answer from my position, because in my company, the policy we're building, I'm focusing on documentaries mainly for the financial reasons, and I'm focusing on the documentaries that have potential of building an impact campaign afterwards. Because for me, the film, it's an instrument of asking a question, generating a change, or creating a change afterwards. And I'm choosing my projects. Yeah, basically it's social topics.
So in a way, you're the one driving the process. It's not the public that is asking for.
No, it's painful for me.
Or social subjects that.
What's painful for me, and then I'm trying to see what's the beautiful part in that, and where's the humor. Because we as a nation, we don't take. Again, I would say we don't take us very seriously. We laugh about ourselves. There is a lot of humor in Moldova, and I'm looking in my projects to have a bit of that, because it doesn't help much if you have the problems in society and you are coming to the cinema and watching the films. It's depressing, and yeah, I'm trying to select and to look at the bright side of it.
Actually, we have comedies as well. Just in this selection, of course, when you want to discover a country, you focus on main problems of this country, but this doesn't mean, and of course, this reality make people to want to tell these stories. But we have very good comedies. I would say maybe in next years we will make another edition with our comedies.
Yeah, I think if we would make more movies, there would be more choice of themes and genre and everything. That's the problem, that we are all sporadically working on a project for years, and then it's of course something that is hurting and is coming out again, a tragedy. And next time I say, yes, next time will be something funnier. And then it's getting again a very hard way, and the story is repeating. But for me, like director, for example, I cannot think about the whole public, something very abstract, because each person is an individual and is very different, and will have a different side of have different tastes and different questions, expectations. So for me, like director and like author, cinema maker, because I also am writing myself the stories until now that I've done, is really confronting myself with the very impressive and deep stories, anecdotes, destinies that impressed me at one time, and then I tried to transform them in a movie, in a cinema story, in a cinema universe, using all the instruments for that. And it's also for me is important to experiment with the film language, and coming back to the this reduction of the film language, that the images must be very strong and talking by themselves, and the sound also is a strong element, but all the sounds together, not the dialogue only, and so on. So for me, it's like an artist, the approach, very artistic also.
Thank you.
You want to say, because there's a hand?
Alors on a d'autres. We have more questions. Et je rappelle que c'est aussi possible de poser les questions en français si vous le désirez. On fera la traduction.
Hello everyone, bonsoir à tous. I can say in English or in French and in Romanian as also, because I don't have a question. I wanted to thank you for your job, for show in this movie other side of Moldova because I was born in Portugal, but my family are from Moldova. And yes, even I was born in miles away, I know what is Moldova as a country. I know about the culture, about the traditions. I'm sorry. And I want to say to everybody here that in Moldova, a lot of people, when you don't know the country, you prefer to focus on the sad part. But I want to say to you that the Moldova, it's not a country that it's just political sad things. I want to say that we have a very beautiful culture, very beautiful songs, very good food, just to know. And yeah,
Wine.
And wine. I'm 21. I'm
more humor. We laugh a lot, as Ion said, but we laugh a lot about ourselves, and this is the elixir of survival. This helps us to come further.
Personally, my parents are here, but I can say that I prefer like more strong things like cognac. It's really good.
Also, we have also Moldova cognac. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, for my side, I really want to thank you, and I hope that in other projects that you will make, I really hope and I encourage you to show the beautiful parts of Moldova because we have a lot. Thank you.
We don't say about cognac because we leave a space for surprises. So.
Good evening. Thank you very much for this week of Moldavian cinema. I would like to ask, what are the best sponsors, what are the best foreign sponsors for cinema in Moldavia? Because I guess you need foreign sponsors.
We have no sponsors, actually. Yes, our filmmakers are entering in co-production. For example, I'm very happy to say that last year we had for the first time a competition based on a bit of on new rules, and one of our project went to the Romania. Yeah, they applied to Romanian Film Center, and it got first in the rating. And the other project, a documentary, was at the in the top. Yeah. So this helped to just go officially in co-production. Of course, Romania is the first country for us because it's the same language, yeah, the same culture, traditions, and so on. But sponsors, we have no sponsors in the country.
I think the U.S. Embassy sponsored some small projects few years ago, and also they sponsor some in industry, some media. But
yeah, they are mainly focused on anti-propaganda for politics. So, but artist wants to do what they want to do. Yeah, not on water, let's say. Yeah, so.
Now, the landscape includes like the embassies. There are some funds that go to audiovisual sector. Mainly, they started with media, and then it came to some national projects, like to diversify the content, because usually it would be mostly like content from Russia coming to our market. But film-wise, sometimes when you have like, you know that the money are there, but sometimes you have to reject them, because again, the financing mechanism sometimes doesn't allow you to operate with the rights afterwards. So if you only produce for the Moldova, then it works. But if like for the industry, sometimes you are limited by those contracts. And I don't agree with you that we don't have sponsors. In one of my projects, my mother-in-law is a sponsor.
Foreign.
Not foreign. Well, she would support international co-productions as well. No, I pitched at some point our project because we are shooting in her village, and I pitched the project there. And I know it doesn't look very business serious proposal, but literally when I'm putting my numbers there and how I know she loves to support me and my projects, but yeah, no, there are no sponsors. It's again the same enthusiasm, and we'll see later on how.
For example, my movie Anișoara that is shown here is my graduation, my diploma movie from the Film Academy in Berlin, and I had like about 100,000 euros to make it. So the condition to make it in 1 year and not to need more money. So I really wrote a story that adjusts to this amount, and I was thinking, what can I do in a village that I know already because I shot there Banihida, another movie, so I know how it's working, and I could really make it possible. But when I came to Moldova and I was saying to somebody about my budget, 100,000, they were like, 100,000, and you want to make only a movie out of that, you know, like a lot of money, and just for a movie, let's make, take 20,000 and do that. They were like proposing business ideas. And I think the people really don't know how much costs a movie. And that, for example, 500,000 is really a low budget movie, a feature movie, just one. And we have 500,000 for the whole movies to be done. So just a little bit to imagine how we are moving, in which dimensions, because filmmaking is
not
very
only for movies,
expensive,
for the events as well.
For the events as well, and everything.
Everything
it's like it's a huge amounts of money. It's a lot of technical, a lot of professionals that you need to pay. So it's something that is coming very fast together. 500,000, a budget of 500,000, you can see in Excel, and is gone. So for a country like Moldova, it's very difficult.
So we are now proposing, and we hope our politicians will have this courage, because we are sure that people from the country are ready to contribute a small tax, and we made some calculations that one Moldovan lei, it's in euro, how much is it's very 0.5. Yeah, and to contribute each month, it will be already more than this fund we have right now, and politicians need this courage to implement such a concept.
There's few questions.
Yes. Hello. I'm here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Congratulations. I loved your movie. I'm from Moldova, and I raised and born there, but I'm living here now. And well, I studied a bit of cinema, and from what I saw, I'm really glad, super glad to have seen this kind of films coming from my country, like for the first time, and now knowing that it's the first panoramic thing that is done here. So, congratulations. I was wondering whether it was shot on film or not.
Anișoara?
Yes.
No, Alexa. It's with Alexa. It's digital, but it's like in the digital camera is
Okay.
like the.
Well, the colorimetry
is the same quality like the.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, the post-production and the grading and everything, and the DCP is like for this kind of projections. You need all this, and this is something that is a lot of money.
Sure.
At least 60,000 were only for the post-production, but this was the part of my film school that gave me like producing this movie, graduation movie. Yeah.
And I guess it's worth it because it attracts the eye of a lot of,
yes,
foreign.
Also the sound. We were working for months in the sound design, and then we had 3 weeks in the sound mixing, and we had 2 weeks in the grading suite. This is, you cannot really pay for it in the free industry. If you are making just a normal movie with a normal production, you need to pay much more for every day there.
Yeah, that's the thing that came to my mind, the sound, because I'm super glad to hear how Moldovan cinema is thriving nowadays with your movies. And I guess that music is the next step, because sure, Eurovision and all the pop music is pretty known, but there's traditional music that is still super unknown, and somebody has to, you know, bring it up somehow. And another question I had was the sexual tension you showed with the girl and with the German guy. And then with also the other scene with the Moldovan guy that just stands right to her but ends up by leaving. From what I got, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you kind of wanted to show foreigner envy for Moldovan girls. And
Envy?
Interest, desire,
okay.
yeah.
Envy.
Interest. And I got that, but I wonder whether in your next movies, if you want to continue touching that subject, don't you think there are more powerful subjects already to discuss, like patriarchal wise from our country, or homophobic stuff?
There are a lot of subjects, and
Sure.
I hope I have many colleagues, and in the future I'll have even more. So we can all deal each one with a theme that is of interest. So each one has its own universe and depicts these themes, and maybe one day it will be also about this. So it depends. It's like. That's why it's very important to have really a community, to build a community of filmmakers, to can produce more movies, to talk about more themes. Because if you make such singular appearances, you know, it's becoming like something really big. But it's just a graduation movie of mine. It's an experiment, and in that moment, it was this was my preoccupation, you know, because I was just finishing the school. I wanted to be free in experimenting, and that's all. So in the movies to come will be different, and each one has its own language and approach. Also documentaries, I don't make only fiction, so it depends, you know. That's why I think it's important to be active like filmmakers, many filmmakers.
There are some projects now in development on topics you was talking about, but every artist resonates with one topic, yeah, so I just remembered how I was working with director who he makes comedies, but very ironic comedies, and our former Minister of Culture invited him to a discussion, and after that she asked him, why you don't make films about love? You know? And he answered, okay, I cannot make film about loves. There are other directors that like this topic. This is my topic, you know? So we have just to encourage more people, more directors, I mean, yeah, to make their films and choose their topics.
Humor is a kind of love, but in any case...
As well, yeah.
In the air, yeah.
Thanks.
We have a question in the front.
Good evening. My name is Urs. I'm from Switzerland. Colega mea dorește să întreb pe românește, dar cred că e mai ușor că vorbim pe engleză. My question is more about acting. I just saw the two movies from this afternoon. I realized you were working with people actually that maybe have never seen a movie camera before. If you want to make movies in Moldova, do you find actors? Where do you find them? And maybe for the two filmmakers, how did you handle working with people who have never been on a film set before?
I don't work with the actors. I do documentaries, and my heroes are the actors. And you know, it's matter of the trust. You should work a lot and to make a relationship with them. They should have trust in you, and you should love them. In this case, you will have the movie. You will have the true sentiments. They will be open to you, and you will have the movie at the end. That's the key. That's how I work.
It's the same for me because I work both with actors and non-actors. So in my movie we have a few actors, but the majority are non-professional actors, and it's about love. It's about being there, being one of them, just sitting many times on the table, drinking wine, telling stories together. And just one day I come back with a camera and I say, I will shoot a story with you. Are you with me? And they say yes. And then we start the journey. This is how it was with Panihida Nanișoara. But as I said, every project, now I work on a new project, a feature happening in mid-90s. It's a real fiction. I need there a lot of actors, and there are completely different methods to work with them than with the non-professional ones, because these people really give you their real emotion, and it's just one take, and you must be prepared with your team to catch it. On the other way, with the actors, you make rehearsals, you make 20 takes until you have the best one, and you say, now it's done, we can move on. So it's a real, completely diametral opposto method. Yeah.
Yeah, because we are not a big country, we have to look for the actors, for non-professional actors. For example, you need a child, yeah? It's not already actor, so you look for
It's a big problem in Moldova is because we are not shooting so many movies. The actors are a lot engaged in the theaters, and it's completely different way of acting in a theater than in front of a camera. So I really have a problem if I take an actor, a good theater actor, and put him in front of the camera. It's a nightmare, because it's overacting and it's very difficult to say stop. Don't have to do anything. How? And I don't have to do anything. Just nothing. Just be. You know.
So have a lot of projects where non-professional actors are invited, and then they are doing really good.
Better job.
Yes, fine. You know, just sit by the table. It's not so easy just to sit at the table and drink and to do like it's.
Pretend to be drunk.
Pretend to be no. Please not pretend. Yeah. No, I always work with real wine and real cognac on the set. On the table, yeah.
So we're
then you have
another
problem. They forgot the text.
Well, this also was I say it's a little secret from my shooting that I am very with dialogue. You cannot make dialogues because they cannot learn by heart and repeat something. So I create a movie without dialogue, and they are allowed to speak only if they are drunk. Then they are allowed to speak as much as they want. But if not, better be quiet. That was a rule a bit. Yeah.
That's why documentary takes like years to build this trust and confidence. And as long as they understand that you are not like a TV that is coming to do an interview, and as long, me personally, I'm explaining because I'm involved in shooting as well. I'm explaining that it's a marriage, and of course it's my creative view or our team creative view, but it's a marriage, it's a partnership that stays and doesn't finish when the film is done. It continues afterwards. But I also have this anthropological approach, and it often happens that I'm tested in a village. The team is tested over there. So they invite you for a homemade vodka, and you have, of course, to drink. And if you pass the test, for me, that's the best compliment when a person invites me in his or her house and serves a glass of something, a coffee, a tea, doesn't matter what kind of alcohol is there. It's the best possible compliment and the best door into that life.
Bună seara, and thank you for being here. I had the question, like, given the modest national platform that you mentioned earlier, do you feel like you need to introduce the very rich cultural background of Moldova for international audience that wouldn't know about it? Or do you write your documentary or fictions thinking that the person that will watch it will know a bit of this background.
Yes, I don't concentrate on the audience. I try to concentrate on the stories, and as much truthful to say them to be. I search for this truth in front of the camera, and I trust that every person in the audience has its own emotions, its own experiences, and then try to do so universal so that anybody can really go with. Doesn't matter if it's a village in Moldova. Yeah.
Yeah, the people are the same everywhere. You know, they have the same problem. They have this. They face the same problem, and when you show truly your story, everyone will understand wherever they will watch this movie. It's very simple.
And recently, international audience. Yeah, this is a subject. It's discussed, yeah, on industry platforms, that people are looking for something more specific, yeah, and to discover something new. So it's good when you are going with your local stories. Of course, emotions are universal, so everybody would understand what is your film about.
Emotions and conflicts, I would say. Who didn't fight with his brother or sister in the childhood, so we build a story on that, and people would resonate. I mean, I believe you fight here in Switzerland as well. So.
They are not allowed.
There was one more question in the front row.
Yes. Yeah, I was wondering if we could like go back in time, and if you could like paint a picture for us of what it is like growing up in Moldova. And if there was anything that inspired you to go into cinematography, and because you said that there's three cinemas over there, but it wasn't always like that. So, yeah, what kind of movies were you able to see, and how was it growing up?
Yeah, it was. I will start. Sorry, it's we are children of this transition, you know. We were a bit in the Soviet Union, and then we were in a new-born country. And in my childhood, for example, in the village, was a cinema. In every small village was a cinema, and we had a cinema program. So I was running into the center to see what is the poster, what is coming tonight, and it's a Bollywood movie. Wow! So everybody was there, and was just something amazing, because it was crowded, full, 2.5 hours long movies, full of colors, songs, emotions, and also the same was happening like in the audience, like we were living this. And then in 1 second, like in the collapse of Soviet Union, everything stopped from one day or the other, because all the cinemas and the filmmaking and studios were controlled from Moscow. It was centralized, and immediately we got independent. There was nothing, we had to build from zero everything ourselves. So they were not getting any more film copies. The studios were not getting any more technique, film, like bobine, how to say, to shoot, nothing. Everything stopped. And that was a huge tragedy, because my father is a filmmaker. So I was a small child on the set of cinema. And I thought, man, I want to live like this forever, you know. And from there I got this virus, that, as I call, that I never forgot that I want to do that. And then it came very, very hardcore time with this transition, new time of the Republic of Moldova. Nothing works, no work, no money, and a huge exodus. Everybody started leaving. I cannot follow my dreams. If I want to become somebody and like filmmaker, I need to go away also. So it's somehow a sad story, because it started very beautiful with this dream and fantasy, and then it's very hard time, and now little by little we're coming out. Yeah.
I used to say that making film actually is a kind of illness, an addiction. And yeah, because from my experience, people when they are coming to set, you immediately see, is going this person to remain in film or not? Because there are people who are on set and for them it's boring, they don't understand what is happening, and so many times you have to reshoot something or the same thing and so on. And there are people who you know that this process is very hard, because 12 hours is normally for filmmakers. This is a working day, in everywhere in the world, even in high developed countries like Sweden, no 6 hours, none 10 hours, 12 hours. And in any conditions, in -20, it could happen. And it's very hard, and people are exhausted after 30 years of shooting, and they want to rest, but after 3 days, they want back in this process. And if you got this illness, you are incurable.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I believe that I was told there was a movie starting at 6:15, so the people who have to leave can do it now.
No wine for you.
And no cognac.
But movies, it's good to watch movies.
Ooh.
So now we see who came for us, literally. Vizionare plăcută.
Să așteptăm după cărbună.
Eu sper mai târziu.
Noi vom vedere.
Carbon e eclipsat. Carbon.
This carbon gang.
So let's go back to what we were saying. Anybody want to expand on what the question was? What types of movies did you watch growing up, and what was it was like? And
I didn't born in I just born in Soviet Union, but I didn't have the childhood in Soviet Union, and I'm the children of internet, and already have Lion King and Matrix, and this kind of stuff formed me, and after this, the huge amount of films when you can get online.
I'm not that type of story that my father was a filmmaker, which I wish he was. For me, the process, actually sometimes I hate the process because it's very painful and it's very, very costly emotionally, the process of working on a project. But what brought me, because my dream when I was in school was to become an actor, and my father said the actors are poor. And then I said that I would become a priest because I was a priest helper in the church, and he said, no, better an actor. And then I studied and graduated from something completely different. But I had the opportunity to work in a documentary project. And I had this experience of interaction. For me, the film, it's a lot about the interaction, the questions that are addressed. Because it's so much learning space over there. And even if you're coming with a closed mind, you can educate yourself. You can expand your culture as well, and stop the bad ideas and so on. So for me, it's mostly about that. And from that point, when I saw that it has so much influence and power, the film has so much influence and power, it's worth having this long and painful journey. And now my father is not happy either, being a filmmaker. So.
But after all, it's very interesting.
Yeah, we have a question.
How specialized is nowadays the film industry in Moldova? Do you have to do everything from writing the screenplay? Can you find people with the right competencies? Is there a university with all these specialties, and how does it work? Since you said that everything collapsed after the Soviet Union ended.
We have a department in the art Academy of Art for directors, DOP, directors of image, and script writing sometimes. And yeah, we have crews. Many people are learning just from set, from the process. This actually happens not only in Moldova. We would like to have a better studies, or how to say, because the department is an old one, and we would like to, to modernize, the studies, let's say, and to be more open, because everything is changing, new technologies, new visions even on the process. But if to talk about second echelon, or how to say, technical assistants, costume designers, and so on, these are people that usually they are coming from other jobs, and they are learning during the process. If you are talking about fiction film, of course, sound, and all the people learned by practice, actually. And we can do films, and we are entering in co-production with this crew. And as I said, it happens this way because when people have no conditions, they are working more. They are somehow they are probably scared not to do good their jobs, so they are doing more to demonstrate they can do. Well, this is how it's
difficult for someone once they finish high school to go to finish such a university, to become a director or a screenplayer, or what are the challenges to getting to the point where you have?
It's not so difficult to get to the school, but it's difficult after the school to continue working, because there
is no stable process.
There is almost no industry.
You cannot survive just from films, and all the people who are involved in this industry, they have to do something else. I mean, it's okay if they do advertising, or music videos, or other kind of TV works, but there are people who do totally different jobs to survive.
And it's the question also, because they are involved in so many different creative areas, it's a balance of not losing the creativity in a way, not like being labeled if you're doing too many commercials, or if you're an editor and you work too much for TV, then when you switch to film, it's a bit of challenge. In documentary, we do what it's called orchestra people. So basically, when you collaborate with somebody, you don't ask what she or he can do. You ask how much she or he is open to learn new things. And actually, again, we can complain that there are not so many people we can hire and to collaborate with. But at the same time, it's a land of opportunities. Like, to where else in other serious industry you would allow yourself to risk in a production to hire a newcomer, for example. Yeah.
And it would sound strange, but in our country it was a very strong trend, or how to say. We are people who we are saying that Moldovans, when they gather together, at one part of the table they are crying, and at another part of the table they are laughing. So this mix of and Moldovan likes a lot events and wedding. That's a big event. So the industry actually survived. It sounds a bit funny because of events, not only weddings, cumatrie, I don't know how is it.
Baptizing.
So the industry survived because of that as well, because a lot of events, so people could buy cameras and different. Yeah, it's strange and funny, but it's how now after pandemic is a bit different.
I have a second question. Sorry. From the cultural point of view, it's a very diverse, very small but very diverse country. How does that impact the filmmaking industry? Plus, with all the languages that are spoken there, is there a preference from the public or from even politically driven to privilege a language over another? How does it work?
But our language is Romanian actually. And yeah, we have a small country with a lot of ethnical minorities, because we have Gagauz, Bulgarian, Ukrainian, Russian, Gypsies, and so on. Yeah, and yeah, Romanian language is a basic language, and you know, if the person wants to make a film in Gagauz, it's okay, yeah.
But there are also films in Russian.
Of course, because we are under Russian influence a lot, and the Russian community is strong, yeah. And the Russian language is a reality in Moldova. We have to say this. Yeah, it's a political thing as well. We deal with this.
And from the public, is there a request, or what's more popular actually? Do people want to kind of forget about the Soviet past, or they're more interested in the Romanian links, or the other? I don't know.
Yeah, there is no request. You know, if the film, the reality of film, or the characters of film are Russian people, we cannot say no. Yeah, because yeah, we have requirements because our language is Romanian, so all the document applications and so on, the official part of a bureaucratical part has to be in Romanian. But if people, the characters are speaking Russian or Bulgarian, you cannot say no.
But you are speaking because maybe about the audience. The audience is really, this is a huge problem, that they are educated by the television. And they are watching a lot of Russian TV, and Russian, even all the movies, foreign movies, are not with subtitles, they are synchronized in Russian. So they have this, we have this huge like masses that has this very basic education of seeing the audiovisual material. And for me, for example, a filmmaker, it's a problem because I make another kind of movies, and sometimes this lack of basic education of the public, because for example, in Soviet Union it was completely different. They were like, not about the language, but about the language of cinema. They were getting access, the very simple people in every village had access to very great movies like Tarkovsky and everything. So they were able to watch such kind of music, of films. But now,
actually American movies are...
And you have to normally translate, or they're doubled, how the
titles, subtitles.
The Romanian,
Russian.
The Romanians make subtitles, but the Russians double the movies. They don't make subtitles.
I mean, in Moldova, in cinema theaters, there are subtitles. It's a complicated question, actually, because Moldova is so small, and earlier, the distribution, there were territories. So historically, we are in the Soviet part of territories, and so big distributors, Sony, yeah, they don't care about Moldova because it's a small market. So they give the rights for Moldova to Russia, yeah. And we
so this is happening today.
It's still happening, and for us is a big problem. But now, once the war started, because of these sanctions, things started to change a bit.
That's why I watched La La Land dubbed in Russian. So. But now my personal feeling is that we are on our way, like, to produce constantly films, and only afterwards this will happen, what you are referring to, that the audience would demand something or ask for something. Now my feeling is that the audience would be happy just to see Moldovan films being made and produced. We're missing that, like having this constant, I don't know how often, but constant productions happening and coming on the big screen.
That this film Carbon, that is right now is screened. It showed politicians try to divide the society. They play their cards and they use this ethnical problem. But this film brought to the cinema theaters all the people, of different ethnical origin, and this was really great because this really shows that film do this mission of social cohesion, cohesion. Yeah.
We have a question.
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you very much. It's very interesting. I can learn more about Moldovan industry, even if it's not so huge. And that's my question. Of course, Romania is a member of European Union. Moldova not. But as the language is almost similar, is there a possibility for you to use the infrastructure of Romanian industry and to work more with them? And for instance, even to do more, I mean, even in the productions and distribution of the movies. Of course, it's two different countries, I know, but maybe in this world where it's good to take a part with some people, we share the same similarities, but I'm not a specialist of Romania and not of Moldova. So that's my question.
Actually, it's the same language. It's not similar. It's the same language. First of all, we have the same songs. We have the same tradition. We historically were a part of Romania.
We work a lot with Romania.
And we work a lot. It's naturally happens.
Yeah.
So Ana has now
a co-production
with Romania.
And many filmmakers, Moldovan filmmakers from Moldova, studied in Bucharest, and stayed living there, came back, went back. It's really it's a small community, but very strong, and since like 30 years already there. And new generation is coming too, because for Ana Gurdish, it's always every year they have some students from Moldova there in Bucharest. So it could be a bit more. But Romania is also struggling with huge problems to not enough money, a lot of talent, and not enough money to finance this. So it's a huge competition. Yeah, I sent also my project to the Romanian CNC, and it's amazing how many projects they have. It's like this guy, Ionuț, posted on Facebook when a huge queue of people bring their dossiers of the project in like IKEA bags. To the Romanian CNC, and many. So it's really, this is the problem of these countries, I think, also from Moldova, because you really have too many stories to tell. Everything is there, everything is living. Just come and shoot. It's like calling and say, "Come and shoot this story." It's really amazing. You never saw something like that. But the money, the infrastructure, and a lot is missing. So
sorry to interrupt you. We have to let go some more people, if it's okay with you. And now you can talk.
As long as they don't go to Carbon, it's fine. You mentioned about the money. Yeah, it's easier for us, not only in terms of language to connect, but we're looking, when I'm looking for co-producers, it's important to look at the same wages, kind of, because if I would co-produce with France, then definitely my budget would fly away, or with other richer and more experienced industries. So it's not only Romania, but everything like in Balkans or Baltic countries. It's like when you talk about the numbers, it's almost the same language in a way, and there is a way of understanding why you are fighting. I mean, you don't lose the film in the end. And yeah, people, luckily in the last years, I also did my studies in Romania. I came back to Moldova, so luckily people are coming back, and it's this experience and approach to working, and they implement it back at home.
Yeah, there are good parts and sad parts, because in Romania, being in the European Union, a lot of people are going to Romania. For them, it's easy to integrate there. It's the same, everything, the language, and a lot of students are going to Romania, and some of them, but a few, come back. We are now a candidature as well, and we hope to move quick on this way to be a part of European Union.
We have one more question.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for this discussion. It's very interesting, and I have to say that it presented to me as well, being from Moldova and representing actually Moldova here in Switzerland. I'm supposed to know the reality, but it opened a lot my eyes to different aspects of the industry. I have a question, again, being here in Switzerland. If you have any expectations, what would you learn? What would you like, besides the festival here, which is amazing? But would be there something that you would like to see, to share, to learn from Switzerland? Even languages, you have mentioned about, or there were questions about the issue of language. You know, in Switzerland they have 4 languages, and in Fribourg I already seen how they switch from German to French. It's a curiosity also for me, how do you do on set? Do you talk both languages or not? But, for example, in languages, it might be also a very interesting experience. I don't know, is it for you or not? What would you like, or what would be interesting for you to learn in Switzerland? Maybe university studies, or how it works here. So then I know my homework, what I have to do. Thank you.
The fondue? First, yeah, fondue. Second, fondue. And third, I think, I mean, we discussed these nights at nights? No, I don't have to say the party and this stuff. It's official meetings. I think Switzerland, even being 3 times bigger, by population comparing to Moldova, we could learn from the mechanism they're having here. And I think such a mechanism would apply, and we're missing that. I mean, the fact that you ask Netflix to pay back like 4% of the incomes, or I'm getting now into financial details already, or if the state supports, then the region supports, and then the television comes also and support, and probably this would be like to bring these mechanisms implemented in Moldova. That probably would be the best thing. Because usually there are some voices saying that it's a small country, it doesn't work, or they find 10 problems for every solution. But I think what we have here was the audience is not that big, but the mechanism works. So we have to steal the secret.
As for me, we were talking yesterday, not night, yeah?
We started during the day.
And I think, from my point of view, I think there are a lot of good models we can actually learn from. But the way the community work, it's very important. I think it's a kind of anthropological question, because under the Soviet Union, we were used that somebody decides for us. Yeah, it was because of the regime. Yeah, and we have to learn to be a community, to decide by ourselves a lot of things, to build this community, to be involved in all the process in the society, and understand that it depends of every person in the society, not just of one politician. That really, for me, it's impressive, and it's a very good model.
I have one more thing. One more thing I would like to take from here. I remembered the goats. I would take these democracy spirit of voting and organizing referendums for everything. So yeah, it's exactly the community decides. No, actually, Cinema Fund is the fourth. Now I would take this one.
But this is the problem. I said also we were talking today at lunch. It was during the day for sure. It's such a complicated corner, you know, the geopolitical position of Moldova and all these traumas of the past, and living together is so stressful with so many ethnical groups. It's not so easygoing, and there is a lot of work to be done in the education, learning to respect each other first, to give a voice to each other, each one, and to critical thinking. And for example, referendum, like is working here, referendum for everything, and what they do in our corner, you know, to fake referendums, like Mr. Russia is doing. So it's really it's a deformation of the idea behind, and how you fight this. So this is a huge question. Actually, I would like also somehow, because I live so many years abroad, and my main goal is also to bring the good stuff that I learned, that I have, that I know, to Moldova all these years, and I do my best. But it's really now I started a platform of exchange of experience through workshop and stuff to bring tutors and experts and professionals that really impressed me one day, to bring them to young students and young artists in Moldova, so that they take something and try to do their best home and to become inspired and good, because I really think it's starting with the new generation, with the young people, to change something in their thinking, so that we grow into a healthy, critical thinking, tolerant and respectful society. This is something like that. Then it would not be anymore so easy to manipulate the masses like they are doing now. And I don't know, we can talk about these models of how it did work this here, to make some more round tables to find like the essence, and how can we build bridges. That would be great. This also for me is very interesting question.
As you already understand, the most impressive for us is the way you are doing democracy. You know, you are very different here, as you mentioned before, but you can somehow manage to live in peace together. We in Moldova are very divided, and now because of Russia we are more divided than before, and we argue on different topics, and this is the main things we should learn from the Switzerland. It's the way to find the best way for everyone, or the best solution for everyone. This is for me the main things we should learn.
Thank you, and we will have time for one very last question, because afterwards we would like to show you a short movie, and after that there is a surprise Moldovan wine tasting waiting for you outside. So thank you very much to you courageous people who stayed to the very end.
If it's about that, yeah, and didn't go to Carbon. If it's about that, I would like to thank you, the guiltiest person, for what's happening here and what's going on these days. Is the artistic director of the festival, Mr. Thierry Jobin. And thank you for inviting, and thank you for opening like the doors, and for we're building this bridge together. It's not only one way; it goes both ways. And it's such a pleasure to talk and to think in these terms. And what else I had to say for that beer?
You said before. You already said.
I believe, yeah.
Yes, I think the
or questions
movie is coming. Right.
We heard about the wine tasting.
By the way, wine is the greatest ambassador. from Moldova, and the last years winning medals, golden and silver, and the best medals. But shh, don't say anybody, because if not, they'll come everybody come to Moldova to drink all the wine, or they will start to make not such a good wine because they must produce too much. So let's stay.
Lowers the quality.
Yeah, exactly. So let's keep the quality. So thank you very much and enjoy.
No, the wine industry is an example for us, I believe, and a model to follow. Yeah, like more than a century ago, it was somebody from Switzerland who came in the south of Moldova and started. There was a community in the south of the country, and they opened this tradition of making wines and the technology and so on. Of course, they left afterwards, but it's immediately there is I feel a connection. That there is a connection between that.
So it was wine fest and now film.
And now film, yeah. And music. We organize a music next year. Music concert.